Hello, dear PGT candidates. Welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I am Coleridge Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In this video, I am going to explain all about the meter and the rhyme scheme of all the poems that have been prescribed in the PGT syllabus. I therefore request all of you to watch this 11th hour video very carefully till the end without skipping it in the middle. I also request all of you to consider subscribing to my channel and also sharing this video with all your friends who are also going to take the PGT examination tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. So in this video, I'm going to teach you all about the meters and the rhyme scheme of all the poems that are there in your PGT syllabus. And very quickly, I would like to teach you all those things because you do not have much time to watch this video if it goes beyond 15-20 minutes and all that. So I would like to finish off this video as quickly as possible. Now let us pay attention to this video. Meters, rhyme schemes of all the poems of PGT English. Okay, meters and rhyme schemes of all the poems that have been prescribed for study in the PGT syllabus. You know very well, William Shakespeare's poem is there at the beginning of your PGT poetry syllabus. So the title of that poem is "Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds." So this is one of the sonnets of this William Shakespeare. The number of this sonnet is 116. Please keep that point in your mind because such a simple and easy questions may be asked in the examination. Who knows what actually is going to be given in the examination. So that's why keep that point in your mind. And what is the meter followed in this poem means iambic pentameter. Iamb, you know very well what is an iamb. Iamb means it is nothing but one unstressed syllable and followed by stressed syllable. That means dadhum. That is the metrical foot. That is called iamb. So such iambs will be 5 in that line. Okay, if it is a poetic line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 iambs will be there. When the 5 iambs are there, that is called pentameter. Penta means 5. So 5 metrical feet will be there in that line. So what kind of metrical feet? Iambic metrical feet will be there. In this poem, William Shakespeare follows iambic pentameter, and the rhyme scheme is AB, AB in the first you can say quatrain, CD, CD in the second quatrain, EF, EF third quatrain, and GG in the last 2 lines. That means in this poem you find 3 quatrains and 1 couplet because that is the Shakespearean sonnet. In the Shakespearean sonnet, this will only be the rhyme scheme or rhyming pattern. Okay, and next point, some example is also given here. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments, love is not love. So some 1 or 2 lines are given just for the sake of one example. And here total stanzas in this poem are 3 quatrains, 1, 2, 3, 3 quatrains plus 1 couplet because it is a sonnet form. And now you move on to other poems. John Milton's poems are there now. There are 2 John Milton's poems and one is On Time. This is the second poem, and in this poem 1 long stanza is there. Keep that point in your mind. And what is the meter followed in this poem means iambic pentameter again. That means 5 iambic metrical feet will be there. Dadhum, 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 dadhum. So in this way 5 iambic metrical feet will be there in that line, and therefore it is called an iambic pentameter, right? That is the meter followed in this poem. And then comes rhyme scheme. What is the rhyme scheme followed in this poem? AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, 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 GH, GH. So that means this is the rhyme scheme. AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, GH, GH. So that is some kind of rhyme scheme. And here you pay attention. Fly envious time till thou run out thy race. Call on the lazy lead on stepping hours. Okay, and here 1 example is given. And you go to the next poem on Shakespeare, and in this poem there is only 1 stanza and no divisions are given in that. Only 1 long you can say passage like stanza is given. So 1 long stanza is given and no divisions are there in that. Okay, and here you pay attention. Meter. What is that meter? Blank verse. Blank verse means in this blank verse the poet follows the meter but not the rhyme scheme. So that kind of poetry is called blank verse. Okay? It follows the meter but not the rhyming pattern. So that is called the blank verse. And in this blank verse, what meter is used means iambic pentameter is used. Okay, and here rhyming scheme none, because in the blank verse only meter will be there but no rhyming pattern. Therefore, there is no rhyming scheme at all. And you go to the example, what needs my Shakespeare for his honored bones? So some poetic line is given here for an example's sake. And now let's move on to other poems. And William Wordsworth's poems are there. There are as many as four poems of William Wordsworth have been prescribed for study in your PGT syllabus. Okay, and now let us take up the first poem, The Solitary Reaper. And in this Solitary Reaper, there are 4 stanzas. Please keep those this important information. Okay, please this information carefully in your mind, because tomorrow in the examination he might ask you about that. And here meter, what meter is followed in this poem is iambic tetrameter. Okay, it is the iambic foot only. Iambic means the dhum. This is the iambic foot, no doubt about that. But tetra means 4 feet will be there. Tetra means 4. So 4 feet will be there. That means this is a poetic line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 iambic metrical feet will be there. Then that is called iambic tetrameter. Okay, and here you pay attention. Rhyme scheme. What is that rhyme scheme? A B A B C C D D. Okay, that is the rhyme scheme. Okay, and one example is given here. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary Highland lass. So Highland lass means Highland girl. You know that very well. And one more poem of William Wordsworth is The Education of Nature. In this poem, there are as many as 7 stanzas. Okay, what meter is followed by the poet in this poem means here you pay attention. The meter is iambic pentameter again. This iambic pentameter is a very popular meter that is followed by most of the poets. Okay, and that's why wherever you see, wherever you go, you come across only this iambic pentameter, iambic tetrameter, iambic trimeter, and only such things only you can find. The rhyming scheme or the rhyming pattern followed in this poem is AB quatrains. All quatrains are there. 7 stanzas with 7 quatrains are there in this poem. Okay, 7 4-line stanzas are there in this poem, The Education of Nature. And here one example is given for your understanding sake. 3 years she grew in sun and shower, then nature said, a lovelier flower. So these are the poetic lines taken from this Education of Nature, from this poem. And now you move on to other poems. 6th question, a slumber did my spirit seal. And in this poem there are just 2 stanzas, and here you pay attention. Meter, what meter is followed in this poem means iambic tetrameter and iambic trimeter. So these 2 kinds of meters are followed in this poem. Iambic means, again you know very well, the dhum, this is there. So in one line you find a tetrameter. Tetra means 4 lines. Okay, so 1 2 3 4. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Okay, in the next line there will be only 3 feet. 1 2 3. So trimeter. So all these metrical feet belong to this iambic meter only. Okay, that is the meter followed in this poem. And the rhyme scheme is there. What is that rhyme scheme? A B C D C D. Of course, again A B is also used elsewhere. Right? Don't worry about this rhyme scheme. And here you pay attention. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears and all that. So 1 2 lines are given from that poem. And here you pay attention. 7th poem, the world is too much with us. That is a sonnet again from this William Wordsworth. What meter is followed in this poem is iambic pentameter again. It's a popular meter. Everywhere, generally, the poets follow only the iambic pentameter. You know very well about that. And rhyme scheme. What rhyme scheme is followed in this means A B C D C. D C D is also there. Again, C D C is also there because it is a Petrarchan sonnet. It is a Petrarchan sonnet. Shakespearean sonnet is different from Petrarchan sonnet. In the Shakespearean sonnet, the rhyming pattern is different, and in this Petrarchan sonnet, the rhyme scheme is different. And earlier in some other video, I think I have told you about this Abba, CDC, something like that, or CDC, DCD, anything you can say. It's a Petrarchan sonnet. You just keep that in your mind. And one example here I would like to give you: the world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers, and all that. So some few one or two lines from this poem are given here. Now you move on to other poems. William Blake. And there are as many as three poems of William Blake are prescribed for study in your PGT syllabus. Okay, and let us have a glance at the poems of William Blake. First one is A Poison Tree, and in this poison tree there are as many as four stanzas. Okay, and here you pay attention. Meter. What meter is followed in this poison tree means trochaic tetrameter. Trochaic, trochee means what? Trochee means, okay, trochee means dhum, one stressed and one unstressed. This is called trochee. One trochee, and since it is a trochee, this meter is called trochaic meter. But since in that given poetic line there are four feet, metrical feet are there, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. So four trochaic feet are there, four trochees are there. Therefore, it is called trochaic tetrameter. Trochee, dhum dha, dhum dha, dhum dha, dhum dha. So in this way, four trochaic metrical feet will be there in one line, and therefore that is called trochaic tetrameter. Okay, and what rhyme scheme is followed in this means rhyme scheme is A B B. So that is there. So that is the one. And example line: I was angry with my friend, I told my wrath did end. So that is the those are the two lines taken from that poem A Poison Tree. It's a wonderful poem. Beautiful message was conveyed through this poem by William Blake. In the morning video you might have learnt about that. Okay, and here you pay attention. And the ninth one, the divine image. And in this poem there are as many as 5 stanzas. And what meter is followed by the poet in this poem means iambic. Most of the time iambic meter only followed, but it is, whether it is pentameter or tetrameter or trimeter, it is not clearly there, because so elsewhere he maintained pentameter, elsewhere he maintained trimeter, elsewhere he maintained tetrameter, like that. So that's why mostly iambic meter only he has followed. What is the iambic foot? Da dhum. This is the iambic foot, da dhum, da dhum. Well, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 in a line. So according to his will and pleasure, he made use of this iambic meter. And rhyme scheme. What rhyme scheme is followed in this poem? A B A B. That is the rhyme scheme. And here one example line is given here: to mercy, pity, peace, and love. In the morning video, I have explained all about these divine qualities. One should have these divine qualities. All pray in their distress. So these are the two beautiful lines taken from this poem, The Divine Image. And now you move on to other poems. 10th poem, The Schoolboy. It's a beautiful poem. In this beautiful poem, there are as many as 6 stanzas. Okay, and here the meter followed in this poem is varied, mostly iambic pentameter or iambic tetrameter or whatever it is. But on the whole, it is iambic meter. That's all. Iambic, tetra or penta or tri, whatever it is, iambic. Okay, da dhum. This meter is only followed throughout the poem. It is varied. It changed from line to line or stanza to stanza and all that. So that's why it's a varied meter. Mostly iambic, but varied meters are used in that. And here rhyme scheme. What rhyme scheme is used in this means A B A B B. That is the rhyme scheme. And here one example is given here: I love to rise in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. It's a beautiful poem. I love to rise in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. Beautiful. And now you move on to other poems. The poems of John Keats are also there in your syllabus. And what is the first poem of John Keats means On the Grasshopper and the Cricket. It is written in the form of a sonnet. So it is written in the sonnet form, especially in the Petrarchan sonnet form. Okay, and let us now look at the meter used in that. It is an iambic pentameter. Generally in the sonnets, the poets would make use of only the iambic pentameter. Okay, what is the rhyme scheme of this means? A B A B, because it's a Petrarchan son. Abba Abba, CD is CD. Earlier, DCD, something you have seen that. Please check that. Abba Abba. This is quite common. and CDE. 8 plus 6, that is again 14 lines. It is a Petrarchan sonnet. And one example is given here. The poetry of earth is never dead when all the birds are faint with the hot sun. Okay, some two lines are taken from this beautiful poem. And you go to the next poem. What is that? 12th one, Ode to a Nightingale. It's a beautiful poem. I taught this poem to the degree college students for about 4 years or 5 years. It's a beautiful poem, Ode to a Nightingale. In this poem, there are as many as 8 stanzas. Okay, and here meter. What meter is used in this poem is iambic pentameter. Beautiful. And I need not tell you anything about the iambic pentameter, but the rhyme scheme used in this is AB AB CDE CDE. Okay, AB AB CDE CDE per stanza. Yes, there are as many as 8 stanzas. In each and every stanza, this is the rhyming pattern followed. Okay, that point you have to understand. And one example here I would like to give you. My heart aches and drowsy numbs pains my sense as though of hemlock I had drunk. Beautiful poem. And now you move on to other poems of this great poet John Keats. 13th one, Ode to Autumn. In this poem, there are as many as 3 stanzas. Okay, and what is the meter used in this poem means iambic pentameter again. And here rhyme scheme is AB AB CD ED CCE. Each stanza. In each stanza, this rhyming pattern is only used in all these 3 stanzas. Ode to Autumn. Right. And here example: season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun. Now, let's move on to other poems. John Donne. So, his poems are also prescribed for study in your syllabus. And here you pay attention. A liturgy upon the shadow. Liturgy means some body of rites to be followed in the worship, okay, and all that. So that is a religious poem and all that. And in this poem, there are 4 stanzas, varies in versions. So in different versions, in some of the versions there are mentioned 3 stanzas. In some other versions there are mentioned 2 stanzas, 5 stanzas, something like that. On the whole, there are 4 stanzas, and it varies in versions. Okay, and here you pay attention. The meter followed in this poem is iambic pentameter again, and here the rhyme scheme is couplets. Okay, in this poem there are all couplets and A B A A B B C C, like that. Okay, all couplets are there. And here you pay attention. Example line: a liturgy of shadows, oh my soul, where can we find this obscure parole? Soul, parole, something like that. So this A soul, parole, something like that. Okay. Now you move on to the next poem of John Donne, The Sun Rising. It is also a very beautiful poem. And in this poem, there are as many as 3 beautiful stanzas. Okay. And the meter followed in this poem is again iambic pentameter. And the rhyming scheme followed in this poem is A B A B A C D C D E. Okay. A B B A C D C D E. So in this way, in each this is one stanza. So in that way, there are 3 stanzas. In each and every stanza, this is the rhyming pattern, rhyming scheme followed in this poem. And let me give you one example. Busy old fool, unruly son, why dost thou thus? Okay, this is taken from the middle of the first stanza. Now you move on to the other poems. W.B. Yeats' poems are also prescribed for study. And here, the wild swans at cool. 5 stanzas are there in this poem. Remember, in this poem, there are 5 stanzas, and the meter followed in this is iambic pentameter. And here, the rhyming scheme followed in this is A B A B C C. So that is the rhyming scheme. And next, some example is given here. The trees are in their autumn beauty. The woodland paths are dry. Some lines are given. Okay, you go to the 16th poem, Byzantium. It's a very important poem. 5 stanzas are there again in this poem. And here, the meter followed in this is iambic pentameter. Most of the time, iambic pentameter is only followed in this poem. Okay, rhyme scheme irregular. So in this poem, the rhyming scheme is irregular. Free verse elements are there in this, because in the free verse only there will be no regular rhyming pattern. Okay, here you pay attention. One example: the unpurged images of they recede. The emperor's drunken soldiers are obeyed. So it is something like that. So Byzantium there. And now you move on to other poems. 17th poem, The Second Coming. It's also a very important poem. Question may be given from Byzantium, Second Coming, and all that. And in this Second Coming, in this poem, there are two stanzas. And here, the meter followed in this poem is iambic pentameter. And the rhyming pattern or the rhyme scheme followed in this is none. Free verse with some half rhyme. Though it looks like the blank verse, in the blank verse, meter is followed. But rhyme scheme is not followed. That's why, so here this is, a blank verse, but free verse is there here and there. So blank verse, free verse, both are mixed in this poem. And here you pay attention. Example like the turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Okay, and you go to the next poem of S.T. Coleridge, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So is a famous poem, you know very well. The Ancient Mariner, the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. This is the most popular poem of this S.T. Coleridge. And in this poem, there are as many as 143 stanzas, and all these are divided into 7 parts. And in your syllabus, I don't know how many parts are prescribed for study. And here you pay attention. Meter. What meter is followed in this poem? Ballad meter. Ballad meter is followed, and ballad meter means iambic tetra, iambic tri. That means in some lines, 4 iambic feet will be there, and in some other line, there will be 3 iambic feet will be there. Iambic tetrameter, iambic trimeter. So these two are mixed in this ballad meter. So that meter is followed in this poem, the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. And here you pay attention. The rhyme scheme. What is the rhyme scheme? AB, AB, or AB, CB. That is the rhyme scheme followed in this poem. And what is the example? It is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of 3. So that is 1 or 2 lines are given just for a sample sake, for example's sake. And now you move on to other poems. P.B. Shelley's poem is also prescribed for study. That is our famous The Cloud. Okay, it's a very important poem, and 1 or 2 questions may be given from this poem. So the cloud, in this cloud, there are as many as 6 stanzas. Okay, what meter is followed in this poem means anapestic. Anapestic means what? 2 unstressed syllables followed by 1 stressed syllable. This is called an anapest. Okay, anapest. Okay, this is called anapest. So since it is an anapest foot, okay, then that is called anapestic meter. Anapest means da da dhum, 2 unstressed followed by 1 stressed syllable. In this poem, you can find 6 stanzas. In all these 6 stanzas, you can find only this kind of meter: da da dhum, da da dhum, da da dhum. It gives a beautiful music to the ears of the readers and all that. And here you pay attention. The rhyme scheme followed in this is AB, AB, CC. That is there. And here, one example is given here. I bring fresh showers for the thirsting flowers from the seas and the streams. You know very well about this poem, and I taught this poem very elaborately for you, for the DSC candidates and all that. I hope you have also watched that video. Okay, it's a wonderful poem. Now you go to other poems. Robert Frost's poems are also prescribed for study. What are the poems of Robert Frost means? First one is The Road Not Taken. It's a very, very important poem. Definitely 1 or 2 bits will be given from this poem. Okay, and in this poem there are as many as 4 stanzas. Okay, and here the meter followed in this poem is iambic tetrameter. Tetra means 4 feet. Pentameter means 5. Trimeter means 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 iambic feet will be there in 1 line. Whenever it is so, it is called iambic tetrameter. Right? And you go to the next one. Rhyme scheme AB, AAB. Example line: 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. The very first lines are given as an example for you. And here you pay attention. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Okay, it's a very beautiful poem. I taught this poem for so many people. It's a very popular poem of this Robert Frost. And stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Right? And here you pay attention. The meter followed in this is iambic tetrameter. And here rhyme scheme. What rhyme scheme is followed in this poem is AA, BA, BB, CB, CC, DC, DDD. Okay, that is there. That is some kind of meter. And now one example I would like to give you here. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. So beautiful. No, though, and all that. Right. And now you move on to other poems. Okay. 23rd poem. Dust of Snow. In this poem, there are only two quatrain. Quatrain means 4 lines. Two quatrain means 2 into 4, 8 lines will be there in this poem. And the meter followed in this is iambic diameter. Iambic diameter means, you know very well, di means 2. Diameter, di means 2. That means in that line, 2 iambic feet will be there. 1, 2, that's enough. Iambic foot, iambic foot. When there are 2 iambic feet in that line, that is called iambic diameter. So in this poem, you can find iambic diameter, and here the rhyming scheme is AB, AB. Okay, and here one example is given. Okay, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So crow, tree, me, snow, something like that. AB, AB. Crow, me, snow, tree. Now you move on to other poems. Rabindranath Tagore's poems are also prescribed for study. And what are his poems prescribed for study means The Last Bargain. It's a beautiful poem. Actually, if you had some time, I would have taught all these poems very briefly. All these are taken into second part of the roundup poems. So I wanted to teach all of them, but for some reason, no, I don't find any time to make a video on these poems. Anyway, I'm very sorry for that. In the future, if I get the opportunity of serving you, of teaching you, then I will definitely teach all these poems elaborately. Okay, right, keep this point in your mind. And The Last Bargain is a beautiful poem. In this poem, there are as many as 4 stanzas. Okay, and meter followed in this free verse. Free verse means no meter, but rhyme scheme is followed. This is written in the free verse, but no rhyme scheme is followed in this. Okay, because it all depends on the mentality of the poet. Okay, come and hire me, I cried while in the morning I was walking on the stone paved road, and all that. Rabindranath Tagore has written the poetry in free verse. That means, you know, whatever the thoughts came into his mind, he just put them on a piece of paper, and that was called a poem. That's all. Whatever came into his mind, he put on paper, and that became a poem. And because he was a popular figure, and the great people, whatever they do, that becomes a model, that becomes a fashion. Nobody can find fault with the great people. That's why, you know, this is a free verse, but there should be some rhyme, but no rhyme is also followed. Okay, so now let us move on to learn about the other poems of Rabindranath Tagore. 25th poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear. It's a beautiful poem. 1 or 2 bits are likely to be given in the examination, and there is only one stanza. And what is that? Single sentence poem. That's what just now I have told you. Because Rabindranath Tagore was a great personality. He was a multifaceted personality. Whatever he did became a rule. And this is only a single sentence poem. From the beginning till the end, only one sentence. Single sentence poem means only where the mind is without fear. No stanzas, nothing. Right. And here you pay attention. Meter, free verse again. And rhyme scheme, none. Okay. And example, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. You know that very well. And you go to the next poem. From lover's gift, usually one, but varies. Okay. Usually one means one stanza is there in there. Sometimes, you know, if it is broken into 2, so 2 stanzas will be there. Okay, some people have broken it into 2 pieces. Some people have read it as a single poem, and all that. It varies. Okay, and here you pay attention. Meter is free verse, and here rhyme scheme is none. And one example is given here. I would ask for still more if I had the sky with all its stars. So that is that. Now you move on to other poems. Sarojini Naidu. This is the last poem prescribed for you for study, and here you pay attention. The Bangle Sellers. In this poem, there are as many as 4 stanzas. It's a beautiful poem, and here meter is iambic pentameter or tetrameter or trimeter or dimeter. Some iambic meter is only followed in that point. You have to understand. Rhyme scheme is AABB. Okay, and one example is given here. What is that? Yes, bangle sellers are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. Bear, fair, A, B, B, like that. So there are 4 stanzas. In each stanza, that kind of, and in the second 2 lines, you know, B and B, something like that. So in this way, there are 4 stanzas. Each stanza will have this pattern that is there. With this, this important and 11th hour video will come to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hello, dear PGT candidates. Thank you so much for watching this video. One of the subscribers has asked me to make a video on the meters and rhyme schemes of all the poems. So immediately I have got that beautiful idea and immediately started doing this video. And if you are interested in this video, please watch it, because this might be of some help to you in your tomorrow's examination. That much I can say, because one or two bits might come from this video. Okay, please make a point of watching this video at least once, or along with your friends and all that. I don't know whether you are working hard for the PGT examination or not, but here I am working very hard for your examination, for you people. So that is there. And anyway, please watch this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Right.